Hi, everybody, and welcome back to From This Corner TV. I'm your host, Marilyn Dayton, and I'm back with another terrific show for you. And the subject of the show is There's More to Life. Reach for significance and purpose. And we can all relate to that, right? Because we as human beings tend to sometimes become complacent when we think, we're doing okay, I'm fine. And maybe I shouldn't ask for more. But why not? Why not say, is that all there is? And then where do I go from there? And this guest is going to give you some tips, techniques, going to help you with that. She's going to tell you all about how you can get all into your life. Jump right into it. So we have with us another eWomen Network Connecticut chapter member, I'm proud to say. This is Paula Jean Burns of, now wait for it, Bespoke. Good name. And she's going to talk about, is that all there is? Now, what happened with you? What was your life like when you realized, wait a minute, is that all there is?
Yeah, and there's a lot more, let me tell you.
Tell me.
I will tell you, Marilyn. So my journey started about 5.5 years ago. I had the ideal life. I have a wonderful, loving relationship with a husband. I have 3 beautiful children. I have a corporate career, extended family, living in a location that I love, managing all the facets of my life. I thought I had everything in its box. Everything was in its place. But that all changed. And it changed for me with a very significant event, and that event was the death of my father. We're a very close-knit family, and it was not uncommon for Dad to call up and say, hey, it's Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock, let's go for happy hour. And we'd all scoot to the same location. And he was a great man with a great personality. So he died very suddenly, and it was a significant loss, and it happened quickly. And we were at his funeral, and we were all together, my sisters and my mom, supporting each other, and a message came through to me. And it's interesting because nobody else received this message. And I've asked, and the message was, Marilyn, you can determine and measure the value and significance and connection that a person has had in others' lives by the length of their line.
Okay, wait a minute. Hold everything. The length of their line. What does that mean?
The length of their line. And I pondered that for a few minutes, hearing it kind of come through to me. I'm like, what do you mean the length of your line? What line? And the message was the length of your line at someone's funeral. You see, in today's day and age where we're so tech savvy and everything is in sound bites and LOL for laugh out loud and people are moving and they're all in their own groove, we don't take time. It's easier to send a fruit basket or a flower bouquet and a nice card, but someone that's really reached out and connected and spent time with others, valued what they had to offer and tried to help them lift up and go forward, those are the folks that will have people come to their funeral, and their line is long and it's rich and it's robust. So for a few days after the funeral, it just played in my head. And I was at my corporate office the following Tuesday, and I got up to go to the next meeting with a cell phone in hand and coffee and probably 15 minutes late. And I just was riveted in my doorway, and I thought, wait a minute, this is it. I'm not doing it right. I'm spending so much time on the surface, managing all the aspects of my life, but I don't have a line. If I were to call right now and said, executive meeting of everybody I know, I need to have everybody that's important in my life there, I don't think anyone would show. Oh. Because I had spent so much time managing everybody on a surface and keeping everything comfortable and easy that I didn't take the time needed to create those deep, meaningful relationships. So I realized right then and there, it was time to change. I was on a mission to create a line for my life, to know that I was able to impact others in a very significant and meaningful way.
Wow. Do you know how many people that are watching right now are relating to what you're talking about? Because we're all pushing. We're all got to get this done. And our lives are so out of balance because we're directing and managing everything. And instead of really living.
Right. Yeah.
So we're all kind of relating to this.
We don't take the time to read the details.
Yeah.
It's like, Give me the Reader's Digest version. Let me skim things. Look at your
Oh
email
my
box.
God, I say that all the
You know,
time.
you look at your email box, it's like, oh, let me triage everything.
Yeah, yeah.
But you're missing the nuggets. You're missing the gems of life are in the details, and it's taking the time.
So what did you do?
So I thought, all right, well, how do I go about making a line? Where do I go from here? And I have wonderful friendships and families that we've, grown up with our children with. So it wasn't that I didn't have a surrounding of a social life, but it wasn't nurturing enough for me. So I thought to myself, okay, I need to reach out. I need to take the step forward and to reach out and find others that feel and share that sentiment and extend myself. So I went to an event, a networking event, and it was produced for women, by women, all about nurturing and growing your businesses and yourselves. And I walked into this room, didn't know anybody there. I walked into this room of 200 people, and I thought, oh my God, there's 200 other people that feel the same way I do? I mean, I'm coming from a corporate life where everything was a timeline, a project plan, it was all laid out for you. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And the very first speaker that was introduced to the stage and started to, sharing her story, I just started to tear up. And I thought, this is it. I've missed all this. It was all that personal development, that connection to self and spirit and others that I was lacking. So I went to a girls' night out event at a friend of ours, mutual friend of ours' home, and we had the opportunity to stand around the island and get to say a little bit about ourselves. Who are you? What do you do? What do you like? And I was the last person. And as every person went around that island and shared, I became more and more panicked. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what to share. Oh. What do you say? My name is Paula Jean Burns, I'm a corporate leader or executive, I'm a wife, I'm a mother. I'm like, that's all boring. It doesn't say anything about me.
Yeah.
So I was praying somebody would call on the cell phone and get me out of that. But they didn't. They didn't call me. So when the conversation came back around to me, I said, my name is Paula Jean Burns, and I don't really know who I am yet. I'm on my journey. And that really was my tipping point. I did a lot of personal development, did a lot of reading, went to seminars and networking events where there were others that were expanding who they are, what they're doing, kind of really reaching out and pushing that comfort zone. I started painting. I've never painted before, but I'm like, why not? Let's just try it.
Yeah.
There's nothing dangerous in trying.
That's right.
It's limiting when you say, no, I can't, I'm not good at this. And we're so caught up in, well, if it's not perfect, if it's not right before I even start, I'm not going to start.
Yeah. Wow.
So I spent the next 365 days being scared to death because of one of my beloved quotes from Eleanor Roosevelt. She said, well, do something every day that scares you. So I did. I'm like, oh, okay, I can do this. So I did. I took the next year to figure out how scary things could be, and I created my company and really spent the time to dig deep within myself and decide what is my purpose, what am I really here to do, what are my gifts and my talents, and how am I to serve others?
Now you said 365 days, okay?
Right.
Now did you leave your job?
Well, that's a very interesting story because as I made this revelation in the doorway of my office, I knew that for me, the corporate structure wasn't supporting where I needed to go to grow and to do. I was feeling constrained by structure, by timelines and project plans, and you have to do it this way because that's the way it's done. So I wrestled with that, and I wrestled with it hard. Every day I would go to work crying because I couldn't figure out where I was disconnected. I was craving creativity, expansion, yet my corporate life was very structured and stayed. So after about 3 months of tearful back and forth to work, and my husband thinking, well, gosh, is it midlife crisis? Are you having a nervous breakdown? Like, what do we need to do? And girlfriends thinking, Paula, what's the matter? And I'm like, I just don't think I can stay here anymore. I don't think this is the venue for me. And they're like, but this is 2008. It's the worst economy in the whole world. You can't change what you're doing. You're crazy. And I'm like, no, I need to. There's something I need to do. So finally on a Saturday, I was at my wit's end. I'm like, what else do? You call your mother. So my mother's in Florida, and I call my mom, fully expecting her to support and say, well, hon, I know this is the tough journey, but you have 3 kids, and your husband has his own building business, which is being affected by the economy. sit tight and let's just ride this out. And she didn't say that.
Ooh.
She said to me, what is your gut telling you? What is your belly feeling like? And I said, Mom, my belly's feeling like it's time for me to go and make a leap. And she said, honey, follow your gut and the safety net will appear. So I hung up and I said, all right, Mom said so.
So it's okay.
I wrote my resignation letter, and that didn't feel so bad. I printed it out and read it out loud, and that didn't feel so bad, and I knew right then this was my journey. So I brought it into my boss, handed it over on the table. He looked at me, thinking I'm probably having a nervous breakdown, and said, why don't you keep this over the weekend, and we'll engage again on Monday, because I don't really think that you really want to take this step. And I'm like, oh, yes, I do. And I'm thoroughly standing in it. Thank you very much. So I gave my corporate notice, and I left my job, and that's how I came to spend the next year to really devote myself into a lot of deep thinking and time that it takes to figure out, after 50 years of not spending time on me, what do I like? I didn't even know how to answer that question.
Do you know how many women go through what I went through it too. We all go through, well, they call it midlife crisis, right?
Yeah,
Love the
nice
term.
little pills for that. And
So many, and I'm sure our viewers are sitting there going, oh yeah, that's me, but can I afford to quit my job and not know where I'm going? But can you afford not to?
Well, so here's the beauty of that. Because as I said, my husband was an independent businessman. He owns his own company. The worst economy since the Depression that we had.
Yeah.
And people are looking at me, I'm nuts. I had the 401k, the salary, all the benefits, 3 kids. You don't do this. When you come from a place of knowing and you follow your intuition, it will lead you. So while I gave my notice and they accepted it, 5 weeks later I was called back in and we were able to renegotiate a part-time contract, prorated my salary and my benefits to bridge me through that process. So the safety net appeared. I couldn't see it initially. I didn't know. I just knew that I had to change something, and I took that leap. And the safety net appeared for me to be able to go forward. So often we bypass that, and we're too afraid to take that step because what we're used to is, I want to see it before it happens, and then I'll make the decision. Let me make all the money first, and then I'll change my course of action. Let me see the outcome, and then I'll go forward. And it doesn't work that way.
It doesn't. So many people have a turning point in their lives. Yours was losing your father and hearing that message. I know someone who lost her brother and realized how short life is. And am I happy? He's gone, and now I'm looking at my life kind of thing. And is this what I really want to be doing now? So many of us go through this. So there's so much stress in life, so many demands on us, especially women. Sorry, guys, but especially women. We are everything, okay? We have to do it all. And the guys, I don't think they realize or notice this. I'm generalizing, and I apologize. But we have so much on our plates. And we're shuffling around these jobs, these hats that we wear. And we go, wait a minute, I didn't see me in there. Where's me? And I went through that actually twice in my life. That, to that significant point where people thought, and my mother was not supportive. She said, honey, it'll be okay, sleep on it, and then you'll be fine tomorrow. But you were brave, you did it, a lifeline was given to you so that you could work part-time and start working on yourself. Did you, during this 365 days, did you ever get to a point where you went, am I doing the right thing?
I think we all sort of have that voice with us all along our journey, and it sits up here. It's the head, it's the ego that wants to look in that rearview mirror and say, well, your past experience doing this and this doesn't really lend itself to going over here. That's a risky thing. What it helped me do was to really realize that that was the conversation from my head, and remember the experience of what that felt like to have such a bellyache every day because I was not listening to my intuition and my real feelings, and to tap into that a little bit more strongly. So when I have those, oh, where are we going? Where's it coming from? Am I listening up here or coming from down here?
Do you know, just to add a little bit to this, and you know this, so many of you know this, when you're unhappy, unfulfilled in your life, and you feel like you're losing yourself, the stress can actually show itself as a disease.
Right.
You can actually even get cancer because your body is just so messed up. Your brain, your body, nothing is really working properly.
It's in dis-ease.
Yes, dis-ease.
It's meant to be in a state of ease. And I can tell you, as soon as I printed off that
Resignation letter?
resignation letter, thank you, the bellyache went away. And I walked into his office, my boss's office, with complete confidence and full resolve. Not a tear was shed. I knew it was the right thing to do. Didn't make sense to anybody else looking at the picture and the situation, but I knew it was the right thing to do.
So what was your next step?
So my next step was, okay, so here you are. Now you've got some freedom. You've got a window. Where are you going to go with this? So I had dabbled in different things, some network marketing experiences, just to kind of connect with people. Because again, I wanted to grow my line, and my point was, I don't want to have 300 people out the door of a funeral home. That was not the intention. I want to know that I have made deep-seated, deep-rooted connections with a handful. So I needed to find my handful of people. So I extended myself. And I thought, well, if I'm going to do this and dabble in different things, I probably should have some kind of a business mentor, a coach, somebody that's going to help guide me, because this is new territory for me.
Yeah.
And I got into a relationship with a business mentor and success coach, and out of that experience, coming into it with one perspective, one hat that I was going to wear, completely changed it around. And out of that was the birth and creation of my company and my desires and my dreams to go out and serve in a different way, in a much bigger, bolder, more authentic way.
And you know, when I first met you, I thought, wow, she's loving what she's doing, because it shows. It just, she glows, people, okay? And I don't know if you can see it here, but she just glows. And you know, when you're happy and fulfilled inside, it does, it shows. And I couldn't wait to hear your story. So
It feels good.
having a coach, someone who's unbiased and can see things logically, not everybody, you know, has one, but it's probably a good idea if you, just to help you get your thoughts organized and kind of pull out of you who you are, ask the right questions.
Absolutely, and that's the thing, is we present ourselves as our vision of who we are. That's not necessarily how others see you. So what you may gloss over or disregard as an attribute or as a strength, someone's going to look and say, "Oh my God, but it's not a little strength. It's huge. It's all of you. This is what I see when I look at you." And we don't do that well. When we look in the mirror, we're very critical. Oh, I see this flaw. I see that flaw. My cheeks are too red. Then my hair. We see, those are the things we see, not the twinkle in the eye and the energy in the way he or she speaks. So that was very helpful with my success coach, to pull out of me what she could see from me that I didn't even realize were my gifts, my assets, the way I connect with people and the way in which I can share. So it was awesome.
I know we have another mutual friend who's a business success coach, and she has stories to tell about someone who was in this line of business, and she was ready for a change, but she had no idea. She thought, well, I can do the same thing, maybe consulting, and then that person ends up doing something completely different, where you go, what?
Yeah.
Now, your training was in what?
My background is 30 plus years in corporate IT, managing and leading teams that were coders and programmers of programs specifically in the healthcare field. So I was very project plan, timeline, but it was interesting, Marilyn, because all throughout my career, while that's a very rigid, very directed track, I was always the manager. Everybody wanted to be on my team. And it wasn't because I was the technical one. I had brilliant people that we worked as a team and collaborated together. They wanted to be on my team because I drew, and I didn't even know I did this, out of each person what their strengths and gifts were. So as a collaborative effort, we delved into a project. And I treated the person as a person. You don't walk into an office and disregard the fact that you've just left 2 kids and you've dropped one at daycare and you've got to run to the grocery store to get food in the car so that you can get home and make the dinners or whatever your story is. But oftentimes, corporate environment wants us to forget how we present. And just from 9 to 5, you're a little bit robotic, and that's the hat that you wear for that time. But we're not.
No, we're not.
We're not. And when we don't take into account the whole person and things they bring with them, both baggage and assets, you don't get the best of somebody.
That's
you
right.
need to treat them as a human. You need to treat them as a
Yeah.
whole person. So I even had an employee, a team member. He's a great guy, and he had a real passion that he wanted to coach. And he was involved in a coaching situation where his team met in the middle of the day. And he came to me and he's like, do you think it would be an even option remotely that I could maybe on one day every week for this certain period of time take my lunch and go do my coaching thing and then come back? It's going to cut in. I'm going to have another half hour beyond my lunch to be able to do this. But could we even think about that? And I looked at him. I'm like, that's so awesome. You're coaching? Like, how do you do that? Of course. We created that bond that I was respecting and honoring the things that really brought life and spark to him. Well, guess what? He worked 10 times harder than anybody else on the other end.
Of course.
It doesn't take, it just takes looking at the whole picture.
It really does. Wow. So I can imagine working with you was very enjoyable. And I bet working with you today with your business is also very enjoyable. So we're gonna take a little break because it's a good spot to take a break. And then when we come back, we're gonna talk with Paula about her business and how she helps people. And you may want to get your pen and paper out. I know I say this a lot to you, but I'm very serious, okay? So we're going to be back in just a couple of minutes, so stay tuned.
Can you help me with this? My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
He helps me with homework.
That would be 3.6795.
Thanks.
Yep.
He helps me with my decision making.
I wouldn't use this one. Ever.
And he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers.
I'm learning so much.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Up, college is hard. Down, those books are heavy.
My sport is football, but my passion is education.
Right up here.
So every year I take promising high schoolers on a college tour
Lights there, darts there.
to show them that higher education means a brighter future. My name is Nnamdi Asamoah. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
You can be a reader, tutor, or mentor too. Take the pledge at liveunited.org/volunteer.
Do you wear this?
And we're back. Hi, I'm Marilyn Dayton, your host, and welcome back to From This Corner TV. We like to give you information, not just to educate you, but to enlighten you and maybe change your life a little bit. And that's one of the things that we're talking about today with our guest, Paula Jean Burns of Bespoke. We've heard her story. We've heard about how she said, "Is that all there is?" and was strong enough to take a step forward and say, I want to find me. I want to find me and see what I really want to do. And so now let's talk about your business, Bespoke. Okay, when I first saw that, I thought, I'm sure that means something, but I don't know what. What does it mean?
Sure. So the definition, the traditional definition of the word bespoke, refers to an English tailor, somebody that would make very custom suits, just to Marilyn, your length and your measurements, and it's the only suit that's going to fit you and nobody else. And the modern day definition of bespoke refers to programs or applications that are written for internal corporate use, not to be used externally to the customer. And when I saw the word, first of all, it just jumped off the page. And I have to tell you, the backstory to that was when I decided that I'm going to go forward and I'm going to present myself as my own company, you have to have a company name. And I didn't want to just use my own name, Paula Jean Enterprises. I couldn't find, what's the name of the company? And I was driving myself crazy. I'd be driving in the car looking at billboards going, is that the name of the company? I'd be looking for signs going, I know it's going to pop out at me, but I couldn't find it. And I finally said, enough. I'm not even going to think about a name of a company. I'm done with it. It'll come to me. And I was reading in bed one night the Yankee magazine, and I turned the page, and I looked at the header of the article, but my eye was drawn to the middle of the page. I don't know why. And there was that little word bespoke. I'm like, oh, but it's so pretty, and it's round, and it's a B, and I like it. And I liked how it felt. And then I saw the definition. So for me, the work that I do embodies that because it's all about the inside work. So the window dressing is how we present ourselves on the outside, but I want to go beyond that, and it's really about the inside work that we're doing, how you're going to grow yourself. It's that personal development. It's being able to express yourself through your creativity, through your words, through your service to others. So the name just fit for me. So it was Bespoke, and really what I talk about, it's the art of living life all in. What does that mean? And how do you live your life all in? Because again, I wanted to grow a line. I needed to connect with people so that I felt enriched and I knew that I had affected and served in a greater way for others. So Bespoke is about the internal inside work that we do with ourselves that affects then how you live your life all in.
Wow, I love it. Now I understand. Thank you.
I know, it's not a familiar word.
No, it's not. It's not. No. So you're talking about success and significance, right? Finding out who we are, finding our significant selves.
Right.
So how does that work when you?
Sure. So the work that I'm passionate about doing is I love to coach, and I love to speak, and I love to write. And it's all around the concept of mindfulness leadership. Because again, I'm coming from a corporate background, so the gift that I have is knowing what that structure looks like. And now being able to come back in, but let's do it a little differently. Let's embrace that whole person. Let the person that wants to go for an extended lunch hour do their thing and come back and be passionate and fulfilled. So when I started looking at leadership and how leadership is structured in most corporate situations, I realized that success and significance in most purposes is usually hinged on the position you hold, that's power, and money. And it's like a teeter-totter. I've got a great position, but the money's not quite there, so I'm not quite satisfied. The money comes up, but it's really not the title that I want. And it's always going like this. There's something missing. There's another element that's missing. You cannot just feel success or significance by power and position or money. And that's where my sort of secret sauce comes into play. That to be a whole person, is to be happy, healthy, and whole, that success and significance needs to come from somewhere else. And it needs to come from connection, clarity, and creativity. So it needs to come from connection to yourself. Who are you? What's important to you? What are your likes? And speak that. to others. You need to have those deep, rich, meaningful connections to others. And there needs to be a higher power in your life, something that you can look beyond and say, give me a little guidance, like what's that intuitive feeling in my belly? Am I okay with this? And get out of your head. So it's connection. And then clarity of your vision and your dreams. We put our vision and our dreams, and we were talking about this earlier, in very close proximity to what we can see into ourselves, for fear that, well, why couldn't I win Powerball? Somebody has to win. Why couldn't I be the president of this organization or this, event? Why can't I take a trip around the world? We put things in very limited box because because I don't have this. We need to dream bigger. So put those dreams out there. Do some visioning. Give yourself a reach and a stretch to go for. And then creativity. Life's not meant to be hard, and it's not meant to be so serious. It's meant to be fun and to be embracing. So bring your creativity to it.
Wow.
So my secret sauce is the 3 C's: connection, clarity, and creativity. And that to me then rounds out what success and significance can really be pinned on.
Now our audience is asking, now does she speak to corporate America? Does she speak to groups, organizations? Who does she speak to? Because they're going to want to hear more from you. So who do you speak to and how?
It's kind of spanned the gamut. My real sweet spot is in corporate, back in the healthcare space. I think in a past life I might have been a nurse. I think I was a caregiver. So I have a connection back to the healthcare space. It's in all of our lives. And the healthcare environment is so nurturing, like women are. They don't take the time to nurture themselves, so that's a sweet spot. So in the corporate environment, yes, I do speaking and do workshops and keynotes in the corporate environment, in healthcare. I've done chamber keynote speaking. I do groups, and I also do private coaching. So it spans the gamut. I think women need to know that it's okay at whatever age and stage you are to step up and say, it's my time. Don't wait till you do it like I did. Don't wait till you're on your other side of the mountain to say, I have a voice and it's time for me to look at me.
So anybody, maybe someone who graduated from college, just had their first couple of years in a business atmosphere and says, you know what? My parents spent all that money and I spent all that money on college and it's not a fit. Now what do I do? And the guilt and everything that they're going through, that person could be helped by listening to what you've got to say.
I have the same conversations with my daughter, who's 25 now. It's like, you know what? This is your life. Define it. Because we create our own lives. Believe it or not, we are the director of our life. We let situations come in and assume that life is leading us. But really, it is the other way around. Start creating the life you've imagined and start living it now. And you can do it small. You can take baby steps. It doesn't have to be a master cleaning off of the table and stopping in everything that you do. It's incremental steps, those small steps over time that make real big and significant change. So absolutely, I had a great lesson with my own kids about stepping into your own authenticity and the things and dreams that you like. We don't have to follow the cookie cutter to be worthy.
But give yourself permission.
Absolutely.
That's, I keep hearing that more and more. Give yourself permission, number one, to take care of yourself. Number two, to look around you and say, am I happy? Am I fulfilled? And number three, take that step and start finding out what you really want. And I know we all go through phases. We change as we grow.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. Oh my God, yes. I used to be shy and quiet, really. But it's true. It's like when Eileen Kaplan was on, and she said, Marilyn, I'm really a shy person. And I said, oh.
Said no one ever.
She was serious. Hard to believe. But there's also another way you can help people, help themselves. You wrote a book.
I did, which has now spurned so many other projects and plans that I've got noodling around that will be in alignment with helping a variety of different people at whatever ages and stages they are. But as a byproduct of putting together my company Bespoke and creating its signature program, which is called Emerge, which is a process to take people from feeling numb, living their lives stuck, disconnected on autopilot, to feeling like number one in their lives. And by the way, it doesn't require that you quit your day job, because everyone's path and journey is different. I realized that there were other messages that I needed to embrace. So I decided that it was time to start writing. And when my father had passed, I went to an intuitive, which I had never done before either, and said, okay, I would like to, does my dad hear me? Where is he? Can he see me up there? And one of the messages that I received out of that was, you are going to start writing, and you're going to write something of significance. And I thought, oh, not so much. I'm not the writer in the family. I'll leave that to others. And 5 years later, here we are, writing a book. The book is called 50 Shades of Greatness.
Oh boy.
The Art of Living Life All In. And really it's a guidepost, Marilyn, and I wrote it in such a way that there's 50 guidepost statements and thoughts to sit and ponder that really can take you on this journey if you're at a point where you're feeling constrained and feeling stuck. And it could be just a feeling for the day, or it could be the beginning of your transformational shift. These guideposts can lead you on that journey to start living your life all in, to start creating the life that you've been dreaming of or that you haven't had the time to dream of, and get you on that path.
I like the word emerge. That seems to fit so well.
Yeah, it's the blossoming, it's the awakening, the opening, the emergence of self. You know, it's okay to have the window dressing of what everyone thinks you are, but guess what? Maybe there's an artist inside that you've never released. Maybe there's a writer. Maybe there's a lot of different things.
Absolutely.
You owe it to everybody around you to expose that side, because it's so wonderfully enriching.
So how does someone get a copy of your book?
Sure. So what I decided to do was to offer this as a gift, that it was my blessing to have mentors and others in my life when I started this process to share their wisdom and words with me, and I wanted to do the same with others. So I have the book on my website, and all you need to do is sign in with your name and your email address, and it's my gift and offering that I can help somebody else along their way and their journey, and download it and enjoy it.
Well, okay. I was going to do that the other day. You know, the other night, you said that, you mentioned that at our event. And I said, you know, I'm going to do that, duh. And then, you know, life happened. And so I'm going to do that because I don't care. I'm 70 years old. I'm not done, folks, okay?
Oh,
I am on a journey here. And,
That's awesome.
you know, there's another part of me that I'm just discovering, rediscovering, okay? Because my grandson and I had a conversation. He said, Grammy, you used to do this thing. And I said, yes, I did. And I started talking about it, and I started getting excited. And I thought, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go dig out the box with this thing in it that I used to do and take a look at it and see if it's something I might want to revive again. And I'm gonna. It's very exciting. And he's very proud of me.
Yeah.
Because he said, you know, Grammy, this is something you do really well. And a lot of people would like this. So I said, okay.
That's wonderful.
Okay.
And so often we don't do that, Marilyn. You know, when you look at something, you see something in a magazine, or you see a television show where someone's doing something, and you get the hair stand up on your arm, you're like, oh my gosh, that's so cool, that's wonderful. That's intuitive signs telling you that's something that you want to explore, but we often don't. Oh, I don't have time for that. Oh, I don't have the money to go to the craft store and buy the items necessary to start this project. And so we gloss it over. But it really is. Those are the breadcrumbs of life along the way that say, look at this, look at this. These are part of who you are.
And you have to be open to that.
You have to be open to it.
Because, yes, I'm busy with my business and doing things and going to eWomen Network and you know, building my contacts there and helping people and doing that. But, you know, this is something I want to do for me, but yet it's a business that I had back in the late 90s, and it was very very successful. And I can do that too. Why not? And it's fun. It's therapeutic. And I'll talk about it in a future show.
It's the creative side. You need to have it.
Oh, yeah, it is. It's my creative side.
You have to have it.
And I'll tell you when the cameras go off, okay? But anyway, so you said, is that all there is? And tell me how your life has really changed. I mean, you've got the glow now, okay? And what about the people around you? How have they been seeing you? And how do you feel today compared to 5 years ago?
5 years ago, I was medicated. I was taking medication for anxiety, and I had to have it. I couldn't get through the day or to sleep at night without it. If you were to ask my kids would say I was very rigid because I had to be in control because everything had to be in a process. In order for me to manage it, I needed to have a timeline. I even have, this is true, at my house, I have a binder on the shelf, and the binder says, Burns family, all the stuff you need to know. And in that binder is all the phone numbers, all the contact information, shopping list template. I even have a template for my Christmas dinner of the timeline of how you have to set the table, how you have to go shopping, because that was the only way I could manage 3 kids, a career, a husband, all the activities that they did. So my kids would say, you were so rigid. There was no wiggle room. And I was very reactionary. I was quick. I was very decisive. Yes, no, no. Now, I'm more thoughtful in my time to respond. I'm medication free. I haven't had anything for years, and even going through menopause, and I sleep like a baby. And I am perceived as much more forgiving with my kids. And people tell me, Paula, I can feel your energy. Like it's palpable. When you walk into a room, when you start talking, when you're moving, there's energy about you. And that was not present either. And I love a good joke. And, I had a close-knit family that, has been very supportive of me, but they will also say, what a 360 that you finally come into a place where you can stand in your knowing of who you are and what you're doing. I'm not wearing the mask of what everyone thinks I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not just the wife and the mother and the corporate executive any longer. Those were all wonderful jobs, and I loved them dearly, but it was the only thing that defined me.
Wow, what a transformation.
Huge. So now I say I'm happy, healthy, and whole.
How great is that?
It's amazing. And everybody can have it. It's not unique.
Are you still painting?
I am. As a matter of fact, we go to Maine in the summer times, and I always bring a craft project for all the nieces and nephews to do. And this year was a painting project, and I loved it. I had a blast. I got little canvases and paints, and we did a painting canvas that was a free-for-all, whatever you see from the ocean. And then we lined them up on the seawall, and people walked by and were like, "Oh my gosh, look what these folks have done." It was so empowering, because to look at a blank canvas is much like looking at yourself. It's like, now how am I going to define myself? Like, what is this?
And where do I start?
And it was frightening. And what's it going to look like when I end up with it? And it's a process of layering. Just keep painting and layering, much like ourselves. We're layers. We're not just one-dimensional. We're multi-dimensional. There's lots of things. So why not go back to things you used to enjoy? Often it's said, look at yourself when you were a child. The things you liked to do as a child were probably the most pure, authentic part of yourself, because you weren't shaped yet by schooling and expectations. It was intrinsically you. Intrinsically me, I love to play school. I love to set up tables down in our basement and have a little board with a pointer and make sure that everyone had a place and they knew what they were going to do and how the day was going to go. And I've sort of come full circle with some of those traits.
Wow. I think that's great. I'm thinking of, as you're talking, I'm picturing my grandchildren. I mentioned how we all change. Okay, they change quickly from the day they're born to the day they say, okay, I'm going off to college, or I'm going off on my own, I'm going to go get a job or whatever, or can I borrow the car kind of age. And I'm seeing this. They're 12 and 14. and I'm seeing the little guy. He's the one that's 12, and he'll always be my little guy. Even everybody's getting taller than me, but him, he's waiting on that. But he was like 3 or 4 years old, okay? And he'd grab his little guitar. We'd have guests, you know, and we'd all be getting together at the house and having food and guests and company and just having a good time. And he'd put a stool in the middle of the family room. And he'd say, I'm going to entertain you now. And he could sing, okay, right on beat, right on note, perfectly knew all the words, and he'd be, you know, imaginary strumming, and he'd be singing and stuff. And we thought, oh, this guy's going to be on stage, he's going to be a rock star, right? Well, then he decided, he went through a phase where he's too shy to sing in front of people, and I went, oh, that's so sad, because he was so cute and so good.
Yeah.
And now he's just so cute. He's got an imagination. He's so creative. I never want to see that go.
You don't want
You know,
to
when you're
spoil
talking about going back to your childhood and that pure personality that you were before school and peer pressure and all of that started putting dents into it. It's a wonderful thing. And my granddaughter, she says, that's my grandmother, but she's really 12 in disguise. Because I've gone full circle. You know, I know how to play now. I didn't know how to play when I was a teenager and when I was a young mother. I was too serious. I was working, you know, and a single mother, and it was really hard.
And play is not something that's welcomed as an adult, as an experience.
No.
Like I said, creativity, that's not usually welcomed in the workspace.
And I was very controlled.
To be less productive.
Yeah.
And actually, if you look at some of the companies that are emerging in the high-tech industry today, they encourage just that. Look at Google. They have vending machines, and you can ride Segways in the office, and you can play ping pong if you have to get a little break. It's revitalizing that creativity and that energy as a child because it's creative and it's pure.
Exactly. It brings you back to self. You're relaxed. You're not thinking. You're not stressed. And it's kind of like when ideas come to us in our sleep and we wake up in the middle of the night and go, oh, that's it. That's the answer. I got to get up and write it down before I lose it, because you're relaxed and you're problem solving in your dreams and that kind of thing, and it's kind of a pure you.
Right, and we don't take a lot of time for that. And one of the things that's definitely had an impact in my life and helped me through this process of transformation has been taking the pause. And I have a very healthy meditation practice. I meditate twice a day, and it's very important to quiet the mind and just sit without thought, because that's where you just bring everything down. And you get back to that sort of that grounding, and it's part of my whole emphasis in bringing my leadership skills back to corporate, is to embrace this whole concept of mindfulness leadership. It's multidimensional, and it requires us to stop, to pause, to take that time. It's not about multitasking. Multitasking does not serve us well. It's about connecting. It's about clarity of vision, direction. It's about each of those dimensions coming together in alignment and looking at it as a whole.
You know, it's interesting. I had mentioned E-Women Network, which we are very proud members of. It's the most amazing group of women.
Thought leaders.
It just, you know, and there's Annie Garland. She was on our show a couple of months ago, and Marge Pacini and you, and I'm proud to be a part of the leadership team. I do the PR part, but
it's not little.
It's not little. You're right, because we all come together and we brainstorm, and Annie's always saying, how can I do this better? You know, help me do this. I mean, she's not afraid of asking for help, but you know, she sees our strengths quickly, and she takes us from the shadows and brings us in the spotlight so that we can grow and share our strengths with everybody. And the other night, there you were, doing your, talking about, getting
Membership?
the membership, and there's Annie. She's talking to you on the side, and you say, and you stop and you look at her and say, "Yes, I'm getting to that." It's just so funny, and we're all sitting there so relaxed, and we're all just so happy to be there because the energy in that room is not just full of power and knowledge and strength with these women. It is, we're there to help each other.
It's
just
very collaborative.
Oh, it's amazing. And I'll tell you, I've been a member of a lot of networking groups. And a lot of them were kind of like social clubs, you get together. It's almost like the difference between LinkedIn and Facebook, okay? LinkedIn is a trade show. Facebook is a social club, okay? This is in the middle, okay? We're sharing our intellect, our knowledge, our connections, and we're having fun at the same time. I mean, how great is that?
Well, that's why I knew it was a group that I needed to be involved with and wanted to, because it was a connector. And connection is big in my life.
Absolutely, and it's big in mine, too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We've still got a few minutes, so what would you like to share with our viewers? Give them a couple of tips or techniques, maybe.
Sure. So it's a journey, it's a process. I didn't come to decide on any one day I'm changing my life, and my life went from where I was to where I am today overnight. It's a journey and it's a process, but don't be fearful of taking that step. It's the small incremental things that you do every day consistently that make the biggest change. So for me, I adopted a meditation practice. It was a way for me to carve out and say, you know what, 20 minutes a day, I'm going to take me time. Kids know mom's meditating. My husband knows when the door is closed, nobody interrupts me, and it's my centering time to just sit back and relax, decompress, gives me a better self, because when we take that time for ourselves, it's critical that we do, because then we can present more of us to serve our family, our friends, our jobs, whatever else we're doing. So find the things each day that you can do that make small changes in your life. The other thing is keep a journal. And I was never a journal person, but boy, what a wonderful tool and sense of comfort to be able to have a place to go to write your thoughts, your ideas, things that happened during the day, and to be able to go back and look and see, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, a year ago, this is what I was struggling with, or this is where I was, and look where I am today. I have changed. I have made an improvement in this area. I have done something different than what I've done in the past. I'd also say, take a risk. Get out of your comfort zone. It's okay. It's okay to stretch. It's okay to feel a little bit of discomfort, because that's where the challenge comes in. And when you rise to a challenge and an occasion, you grow, you expand. So it can be something small. For me, it was painting. I was afraid of the paintbrush. I just didn't know what was going to happen with that. And you don't want to see yourself as an adult as not mastering something or not being able to handle a task, but it doesn't have to be perfect. We are perfectly imperfect.
How wonderful.
And there's nobody that's perfect. So take it out and play with it. And take it as a plaything, not as a task that you do at the office. Be creative. Have fun with it. Life is meant to be happy. Have fun.
And there's so many young people I meet because of my daughter being involved in the school system with the kids. And of course, I try to go to all the concerts and stuff, so I meet them too. And I can tell when there's a young mother who just is frazzled. She's trying to balance everything. And I see it, and I see it sometimes in my own daughter. And there was a practice that I developed, which was give her a day to herself. And I would send her off to do whatever she wanted to do. She didn't have to worry about breakfast, getting the kids on the bus. She didn't have to worry about getting them off the bus, getting them here, getting them there, getting dinner, nothing. She could just go and disappear and be by herself doing her thing. And I got
That's
busy and I got to start, and I hate that. And I have to say, okay, Marilyn, give your daughter her day again, okay?
What a gift.
You know, it's the best thing I can do for her, really and truly. And
beautiful gift.
I never got that when I was a young mother. I sure could have used it. Every young mother could use that. So that's an idea, okay?
Every young person could use it.
Absolutely.
Take time out for you. That's
Give it to them for a
wonderful.
birthday or a Christmas present, you know? It doesn't matter. Or a Valentine's Day gift. Just make up a little card and say, this card gives you 5 you days over the next 6 months. And put 5 little circles at the bottom and say, I will punch out each one you do. Present it to me and then just go away and do your own thing. I mean,
That's
just be
awesome.
creative, okay? And help someone else. Give them permission to then find themselves, have some special time. And remember, there's no meditation like chocolate meditation. I've talked about it before. That's the kind I do.
Nice.
It's, yes. I found it on about.com, believe it or not. And then a friend of mine, she also mentioned it to me, and we were in a group and we were doing the chocolate meditation.
Absolutely. I do that same concept with York peppermint patties. Because as we know, the commercial for York peppermint patties is, ooh, feel that smooth sensation.
Oh, yes.
Feel it. So someone once said, notice what you notice. Stop and notice what you notice. So if you're driving along and you notice a sunset, pause and really notice the sunset. Because those are the things that are nurturing you. So I do the same thing with a peppermint patty because we gobble things down, you drink coffee down, you listen to music. It's all these things and stimulation and events and information that are coming at us that we just kind of just go like this with. I don't have time to absorb it all. So therefore, what happens? We absorb nothing.
Yes.
So if you've never meditated before, take a York peppermint patty, open it up, close your eyes, and feel the cool sensation and feel what it feels like.
And that's how we're going to leave this discussion today. Paula, thank you so much. This has been great
thank you.
fun.
This was
Great
wonderful.
fun.
So enjoyed it. Thank you.
Me too. I always like to end the show now with a quote. And what I did was, and hopefully I put it on here. Did I put it on here? Where is it, Marilyn? It's, okay, there it is.
You got it.
Oh, I had it right in front of me. Okay. The universe burped. Okay. It's from Napoleon Hill, author of Think and Grow Rich, and you're the one that gave me this idea, actually. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. So, thank you. Set your goals, find yourself, and just do it, okay? Just jump all in.
Start living all in.
Start living all in. So I appreciate you joining us again today. Hopefully we gave you a lot of food for thought, and you wrote down Paula's website. Go and ask her for the book, okay? It's free. It's her gift to you. And there's the website right there. And if you've got a group, an organization that you think she'd be a great speaker for, which of course she would, give her a call, okay? So until next time, you have a safe and wonderful journey. Thanks for joining us.